Mr. Brazier?
Yes, sir.
What's your name, ma'am? Okay. You guys know Zion?
Yes.
So, they were saying...
Jalen invited the officers in to look around the house. He told them that he had last seen his cousin nearly a year before, in May 2021. Jalen continued to explain that it was Zion's mother and her boyfriend that seemed fixated on the idea that she had been with him that night. He had offered to show his ring camera footage to Sierra as well. When she took a look at it, the mother thought that there were gaps in entries for footage for the night of January 4th, which had obviously been deleted. East Point police found nothing suspicious in the search of the house. There were no indications that Zion had been there. They listened.
Sit down, right there, don't go nowhere, little baby gon' shake that, 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 said yeah, I like that, bring that, right here, said sit down, right there, don't go nowhere, said yeah, I like that, bring that, right here, said sit down, right there, don't go nowhere, baby gon'.
Welcome back, we back. We had technical difficulties, but I'm gonna just finish the rest of the video from here. This was Thought Lounge. He wanted to be more than cousins. The life taken of Zion Foster. Let's get right back into it.
Apartment and everything.
Jalen said they smoked some marijuana, which appeared to make Zion very sleepy. He saw her head tilt back, as though she intended to take a nap while sitting upright on the couch. At that point, he went into the other room to pour himself a drink.
Now, you guys are just chilling, and that's all of a sudden she just blanks out right there?
Not. When I got up to go get me something to drink,
Yeah.
I came back and she was saying she was tired and everything, and she laid her head back. So, okay, I'm let you go to sleep for a bit, whatever.
Okay.
And then about 15 to 20 minutes after that, I was like, okay, are you good? You ready to go home? And she wasn't responding or any of that.
Was her plan to go back home then?
Jalen reported that Zion's pulse was faint. Then he described her heartbeat as non-existent, thought it would appear as though he had killed her.
Her heartbeat was getting better.
You already spoke
I smoked.
Bro, you're dumb.
Yeah, it was weed, normal marijuana. I put her in my trunk.
Okay.
In my car. And I took her to Highland Park and put her inside of a trash can, and then I left.
What? Bro, just because you smoke some weed doesn't mean you're less human. You might make some dumber decisions, but there's no way you're going to blame it on the weed and say, yeah, that's the reason why I said, yeah, let me just put her in the trunk because she has a faint pulse and not call the police or emergency services, anything, and say, yeah, I'm going to just dump her in the trash can. You're an idiot. Like, listen to what
Detectives
he just said.
queried how Jalen knew that Zion was dead. According to his story, the 17-year-old had inexplicably, very abruptly, stopped breathing.
Drinking the head stack on the couch. If she's still alive at that point, he should probably just hide or whatever, from, leave. And then you start shaking her. She doesn't wake up. You check her pulse, you said, and you can see she's not breathing, nothing like that. So at that point, what are you doing?
Freaking out.
Okay, so you're freaking out, and this whole time you've been home.
So at that point in time, we thought she was definitely dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, was she dead? Do you think she was dead at that point, or did she still just have faint breathing and
It wasn't anything.
there was nothing at that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know the difference between dead and alive, right?
I mean,
Was she
not
dead?
breathing. She wasn't breathing, so I assumed that was dead. Her heartbeat was like, I couldn't read a heartbeat, couldn't feel a heartbeat or anything. So I would say she was dead, definitely.
Okay.
I want to have you show us the dumpster.
Definitely.
Because I don't want to mistake it, and I want to obviously get out there and see if she's still there, then we need to recover her, and if not, then we need to do the steps to locate where she's at.
Okay.
Okay? You okay with that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Jalen led detectives to the dumpsters in Highland Park, where he claimed to have left Zion's body weeks before. Jalen told detectives that Zion had been at his home for roughly 2 hours before she died. This would have placed her time of death at just past 1 a.m. Cell phone records showed her device drop off the network at 1:15 a.m., corresponding to the time that she stopped responding to messages from Vertez. Jalen told detectives that he had not deleted any data from his device since the night of Zion's death. They found, however, that he had conducted a full factory reset of his phone just 2 days later, effectively wiping everything held on his device. Nonetheless, the movements of his phone could be pieced together. This data placed Jalen at the dumpsters at Highland Park at 1:48 a.m. He claimed to have placed her in the dumpster to the right. There was no longer any sign of her there.
Which specific dumpster? Which dumpster do you want? I'm gonna walk up to you, okay?
Yes. It was already open. Yes.
Did you close it?
Yes.
You closed it?
Yes.
Where did you park your car?
Right in front of it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I said right in front of it.
Did you back into it or did you pull forward? So you were side by side? Okay.
He said that my baby just died. And then that he threw her in a dumpster.
Like, bro.
Like she was trash.
Like, come on, man.
Jalen sat down for a follow-up interview the next day, January 20th. Inconsistencies
The boy's
began
a
to
liar.
emerge in his story. He now claimed that the two had taken acid that night. It was her response to the psychedelics that must have caused her heart to stop. Of course, this explanation was about as likely as his
like that
previous
too, right?
assertion that the marijuana had caused her death.
Acid ain't that
The
strong.
detective attempted to leverage these new claims to compel a confession. Perhaps Jalen would use the drugs as an excuse for his actions, for whatever steps he took to kill his younger cousin.
I was trying like psychedelics, like acid, and
He said, and.
I think that's what killed her.
Dan, did you have like a freaking momentary like
Can I
didn't know what you were
just punch you in
doing
the face,
moment?
please?
No. She also she took a attack herself.
Let me ask you this, the problem with those
Okay.
drugs are, when you're on them, you don't know what you're doing. I mean, that's the reason people take them, right? Did you do something when you were, cause it
See, bro, this is the thing, bro. And this is why it's a problem when the police can't take the drugs so they know what they do. But you assuming that's what happens when you're on acid. Bro, that nigga has full control of what he's doing. He's a dickhead. Don't blame the drugs. Blame the nigga.
again, I'm trying to figure this out, and that would make complete sense. When you dropped acid, did you have, I'm not saying it's okay, but
I was completely comforted. Completely. I just think, I don't know if the effect for her was positive or trouble it had to it does a lot of things your brain and like with your
yeah, it does a lot. I'm going to tell you right now, it makes sense to me now. It all makes sense to me. You understand that, right? Because I'm sitting here trying to figure out how this nice young guy, Jay, could ever hurt anybody.
He was on drugs.
But it makes sense to me now.
Don't blame the drugs. He a
It's not you,
hoe.
it's not Jay at that point. You understand that, right? If you did something under the influence, that I need to know that because that's a big difference, and I can understand that. That I
It's
can
not
appreciate.
The detective failed to elicit a confession. Without this admission and without locating Zion, there was not enough evidence to proceed with an indictment for murder.
That's crazy.
Jalen was placed under arrest
Get a
and
body.
held in custody for one count of lying to police.
What that
He
is?
made the police actively deceiving them on the whereabouts of Zion Foster, the health and safety of, in his interaction with her.
Ain't no charge for hiding
In June
body.
of that year, Jalen spoke with detectives
Something.
again. This time, only the audio was recorded. At that time, he changed his story once more.
I did it.
Jalen recanted his claim that the two had taken acid that night. That part was not true.
It's crack.
Other smaller details of the story changed as well. He no longer described Zion as passed out on the couch. Now, she was on the floor. He said that he had felt pressured by police to offer more information, so he made up a more elaborate story to appease them.
That's stupid.
Well, I left that out about the LSD, but yeah, we both took a hit of LSD, and it must have hit her different, hit her wrong. Did you say it bullshit, or did he? See, I'm saying he's telling me that. I'm trying to say, is he telling me bullshit that you didn't say, or did you? No, that's why I thought. Well, okay, I feel pressure. Just throw something out there before I get out there.
Bro, what?
Garbage collection trucks working in Highland Park were tracked to specified areas in local landfills. The task of sorting through mounds of trash from all over the Detroit area and compiled over several weeks was a daunting undertaking. An estimated 8-week project was launched. Dozens of volunteers, mostly wearing masks and hazmat suits and assisted by heavy machinery, picked through layer after layer of the landfill systematically, looking for any sign of Zion.
We expect phase one to take approximately 2 weeks, but we're doing what's right for the right reasons, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to bring some degree of closure. Will never be complete closure, but some degree of closure and justice to this family.
Meanwhile, Jalen Brazier faced up to 4 years in prison for the lies he had told police. The Detroit Police Department, the DPD, assisted by the FBI, continued to seek a warrant for murder. Jalen pled his case to the judge at his sentencing.
One, I did turn myself in. Yes, I lied, but I was not in the right state of mind. There was no way for me to prepare for a situation like that. I was scared. I don't know exactly how she passed, what caused her to pass. I just know 1 minute she was cool, she was fine, she laid back for a minute. Next thing I know, she was dead. I don't know what caused it. I did not cause it or anything like that. I reacted stupidly off of fear and panic like I've never felt before in my life. Literally.
You think she dies and then you dispose of the body? Just like that? That was your choice?
Did not know what to do. I sat for at least 10 minutes sitting there. Like, what do I do? Who do I call? My kids are upstairs.
911. Like, what? Your kids was 1 and 2 at a time. Even they would have known to call 911. Like, bro, are you slow? Hey, bro, there's no way we're going for this. Hit him with a murder charge. I could prove
it. We just got into this place after struggling for like 2 years to get it, and everything is falling down.
Stop that. I won't have any conversation in this room.
We capping though.
And I wish I could take it back. I would have called the ambulance, called her mom, because her mom's so sweet. Her mom is so sweet. And I just know.
Really, nigga? Man, I want to punch on something. This nigga right here lying, bro.
I wish I could take it back. Nobody been in the situation. At the very least, they'd be able to be like, okay, this happened, confirm this, and everybody have some sort of peace right now. You know? But
Jalen Brazier was sentenced to 23 months in prison. Jalen's phone calls home to girlfriend Katrina and other family members were monitored closely while he was in custody.
He's cooked, right?
Occasionally, he would use another inmate's calling code to make his phone calls, in a failed attempt to keep his conversations private.
That ain't gonna work.
He was also in possession of a prohibited cell phone, which he used to exchange thousands of messages with Katrina. Repeatedly in his calls, Jalen would ask if anything major happened. This seemed to be a poorly concealed attempt to ask whether the massive search of the landfill had located anything. or anyone.
There, the most logical and possible one, right? Is that there's nothing major or new, and due to that, there's a last effort to put together any types of anything, and that's basically the most logical thing that I came up statistically. So,
I do want you to know. Keep your head up. Don't say nothing into the night.
Of course. Baby, stop talking.
I know, I'm saying.
I don't want you speaking on certain things.
It's too late though. She should have just said, keep your head up, keep going, and I love you. You know what I'm saying? This nigga talking about he talking about all the possibilities. I'm like, brother, why are you worried about possibilities? The only thing you got caught with was lying to the police. That's what you should be worried about. That's the only thing we should be talking about. Like, what? But I'm not on this nigga's side. I'm just saying, use your reference. If you is in this situation, bro, no, all of these phone calls are recorded. If you say yes, I'm talking to my girl, you're not about to have no privacy, brother. They're recording those conversations.
Jalen's concerns over the search for Zion were telling. If his story was truthful and she had died abruptly from an unknown and nonviolent cause, then there would be every reason for him to want her found. Finding Zion would exonerate him. The quicker, the better. Wishing her to be found should also be the sentiment of a loving cousin. Curiously, over and over again, he expressed his relief that no major developments had occurred in the search. As the final days of the landfill project drew near, he referred to it as a search for COVID.
Yeah, just relax. Today is the first, tomorrow's the second. That's what, to stop the COVID thing in here. I'm searching for COVID essentially. You usually get an update before that. But actually nothing.
So sneaky.
Don't worry about that.
Jalen served just over 9 months before being granted early release. He had been placed in a special 90-day incarceration program. This boot camp is designed like a military program in which inmates convicted of certain crimes can better themselves while inside, and in turn, they are rewarded with early release. It had been nearly a year, and Zion had not been found. An indictment for murder had not been sought, and now the prime suspect returned to his home and his family.
Why is this man free? What? I can admit to this and still be let free.
Jalen Brazier's freedom was short-lived. On the 13th of June, 2023, after a year-and-a-half investigation, the DPD were finally granted a warrant for arrest.
Okay, take you real quick, I'll verify your identity, your license and all that. Yeah, I got who you are, man. You driving around your license, man, you know? Yeah, I got him up there.
The 24-year-old would face charges of second-degree murder, as well as tampering with evidence.
Thank you.
Upon his arrest for Zion's murder, 2 additional cell phones were taken. Despite the factory reset that he performed on his device, investigators were able to retrieve some of the activity. His search history had been held in cloud storage. On January 7th, 3 days after dumping his cousin's body in a dumpster, Jalen performed a handful of Google searches.
How to get rid of evidence?
Are garbage trucks also compactors? What is the force of a garbage truck compactor? How do police get your phone history? And how do you know if police are watching you? In addition to these incriminating searches, investigators found that in the months before the incident, Jalen had performed a number of disturbingly suggestive searches for pornographic content containing the words cousin and step-cousin.
Ew.
Experts were able to retrieve the video results of these searches, some of which were reportedly very violent, as well as graphic in nature. As the case approached trial, a preliminary hearing offered more insight into the additional evidence that had emerged since Jalen's release. This hearing also may have offered Jalen's defense team a
Y'all
new
wasn't even really
theory.
cousins.
At the hearing, Vertez Gonzalez testified that he believed his girlfriend was taking regular medication for epilepsy. He told the court that Zion told him that she had seizures and that without her medication, they became more frequent and severe. In one instance, Vertez saw Zion become momentarily faint, slouching forward before regaining her composure after just a few seconds. This episode, he believed, could have been a seizure.
Have you ever seen her have a seizure?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
So.
And while she was having a seizure, explain to me what happened.
Just like a little pass out. Like that's it. Like quick little seizure. Like.
And she was passed out. Was she foaming at the mouth or
no?
Okay. She was shaking uncontrollably.
No.
Okay. So she was passed out.
Yeah, just for a quick second, and she was like, "You back straight."
Sierra Milton, whose youngest child was in fact diagnosed with such a condition, testified that this was not the case. Zion had never suffered a seizure.
What?
Hundreds of pages of medical records covering years of treatment appear to support Sierra's assertion. Nonetheless, Jalen Brazier's version of events was now being presented in a new light. Perhaps Zion's condition led to her death suddenly in his living room. Maybe she had a seizure.
Now, there are only two people who can say exactly what happened inside of the house that night. One of them is Zion, and she is gone. The other is the defendant, and you will hear that nearly every time he spoke about what happened, his story changed. And although he got rid of Zion's body, you will see that he left behind a trail of digital evidence that is damning and will show you that the circumstances all lead to one and only one explanation for why Zion left his house in the trunk of his car that night, and that's because he murdered her.
Cook!
She also had a history of seizures and taking seizure medication. Now, in this
I hate had to be you, black man. Got the locks. But you about to lose this case to the white man, respectfully. And it's not even about race, but it's just like, damn. You about to take an L, because there's no way you're getting off with this. There's no way. What would you want, a dream team? Were you Johnny Cochran?
This particular day, she came over to Jalen's house. They were smoking. Jalen told the police after some time that she had shallow breathing and a faint heartbeat. He checked her to see if she was alive, and she was dead. He then feared, because he was doing drugs, which is still federally illegal, that he could be blamed for something.
That's her case.
And he panicked.
Zion's phone disconnected from the network at 1:15 a.m. the same night that she disappeared, and was then lost with her. But the teenager's previous cell phone was safe at home. Sierra Milton handed this device over to police. On it, they found months of correspondence between her and her favorite cousin. The messages he sent ranged from subtle and unsettling to deeply inappropriate. At times, the messages were sexually explicit. Over 4,000 distinct texts were retrieved from Zion's old device.
Respectfully, are they deeply inappropriate? Well, Shawty in a relationship, he in a relationship, yeah, but like, nigga, that's not really your cousin. You said that her dad? That's not her dad. No, her stepdad. Wait, like her stepdad is the nigga you related to. That ain't got nothing to do with you. But yeah, infidelity is crazy. Facts. You're bugging. Also, you got your kids in the crib, and you trying to slide on your cousin. It's crazy. What?
In them, Jalen routinely invited her over to his home while his girlfriend was away.
Like what?
He offered to put her up in his basement if she ran away from home.
And him and his girl.
He also advised her on how she might evade police if she ran away once more. Wayne County Assistant Prosecutor Ryan Elsey described the texts as pervasive, at times complimentary of her intelligence and looks,
Your girl might
at
be
other
slow.
times probing in an immature way. For example, he suggested to her that other people thought that they were a couple. He said Katrina, the mother of his children, was jealous of her. Isn't that crazy? Did that make sense to her? He then bragged to Zion about how easily he could get with women. At one point, he called himself a god. Prosecutor Elsey concluded by telling the jury that the 23-year-old had been grooming his younger cousin for years, that he fantasized about her, and that on January 4th, he must have acted on his impulses.
I forgot this nigga was 23. Exclude what I said. Ill. I forgot he was 23. Ill. I was like, she's 17, brother. Yeah, it's inappropriate. Inappropriate.
This was the twisted motive that led to her death. Jurors heard about how Jalen learned that Katrina was pregnant with their third child on the day that he brought Zion to his house. Messages between the couple showed how he had lied to her about what he was doing after he dropped her off at work. Earlier that day, her nausea and hot spells had led to a trip to the emergency room. Hours later, the nausea resumed. She messaged repeatedly that she felt too ill to remain at work and asked him to pick her up. At 1:25 a.m., she wrote, "I think I need to come home." At 1:26, "I don't feel good." A few minutes later,
So you telling me you neglecting the mother of your children, to try to have relations with your cousin, who's not going, by the way, and then your girl on the phone laughing about you committing a murder. What? Bro, there's no way this is the world we're supposed to be living in.
"My stomach hurts, I feel sick and keep getting hot and cold." Jalen's response was simply, "You can make it, baby."
What?
He did finally pick her up that night at nearly 3 a.m. When he did so, she noticed a deep scratch across his collarbone. He told her that the cat had scratched him deep enough to draw blood.
No.
Odd, Katrina thought.
Ape somebody.
The cat had never scratched that deep before. The trial lasted 2 full weeks in May 2024. Jalen chose not to testify.
Cousin.
The state called 32 witnesses. The defense did not call any. The case against Jalen was largely circumstantial, though it was nonetheless compelling. A forensic anthropologist who reviewed Zion's medical history determined that the only condition that she suffered that could possibly have led to her death was asthma, though an asthma attack would present as the exact opposite of what her cousin described.
Right.
Instead of quietly passing out and experiencing a faint heartbeat, Zion would have been struggling to breathe. It would have been very clear that she was in distress. Vertez repeated his testimony that Zion had told him that she suffered from seizures. He also admitted that his girlfriend was known to fib quite a bit. It seems that Zion had liked to tell stories.
This female.
When he brought her to his house late at night on January 4th of 2022, behind the back of his pregnant girlfriend, who was at work at the time, he brought Zion...
Hey, yo, the judge is loving this shit. Look at his face. He's like, oh, wow. Really? What happened next? Damn.
Over to his house late that night, and she leaves that house in the trunk of his car on a night where he has an unexplained gash on his collarbone. What do you think happened inside that house that night? She died of COVID? She died of a seizure? There's a claim that he did all this. He did what he did because afraid of getting caught for marijuana, afraid of getting busted for pot. I think you can use your common sense. If you go to a marijuana dispensary, there's not going to be a team of ATF agents waiting to bust you and take you to federal prison for that. It's about the equivalent of a parking ticket. You ever heard of somebody getting rid of a body to avoid a parking ticket?
Vertaz himself said Zion told him specifically she had a history of seizures. The question was asked, were you concerned when you saw this? No, I was not concerned because I knew of a history of seizures she told me about and that she was on medication for it. And his understanding is that if she did not take the medication, the seizures would be that much worse.
Sierra Milton and the rest of Zion's family waited as the jury went into deliberations.
Just so many inconsistencies that, again, hopefully, the end point of this is that they will see those inconsistencies, see through the lies, and see the truth. That he murdered my daughter, and he disposed of her with absolute disregard for her life.
The jury returned in only 30 minutes.
Damn!
Guilty. Guilty.
Jalen Brazier maintained his innocence of the murder at his sentencing hearing.
No. Rest in peace, Zion. You got killed by a dumb man, weak ass, bum ass nigga.
So she gets it. Have it in her head, it is what it is. But Zion was not in any way violent. He wasn't hurt at all. And he said that I never wanted to apologize, or I never tried to apologize. That's not true. What I said is I know that my apologies were nothing because you can't change her. But what I did.
Before announcing his decision on the length of term that Jalen would serve, Judge Donald Knapp outlined the convict's failure to accept any responsibility for the murder, for his disposal of Zion's body, for lying to police, and for causing so many delays in the investigation through his lies. The father had left his 2 young children alone in the house. He manipulated and lied to family, and ultimately he acted alone. It was unlikely, according to Judge Knapp, that he would ever be rehabilitated. Jalen Brazier was sentenced to 30 to 90 years in prison for the murder and another 5 to 10.
Man, sometimes you gotta cook. I mean, the judge was a great chef. 30 to 90, get him out of here, man. I don't need to see this nigga on I don't need to see him free. Respectfully, like what is wrong with this man?
10 years for tampering with evidence. These terms are to be served consecutively.
My body was trembling, but man, when it was read,
that's one after another. It's tough,
and it was just so matter of fact. I'm so happy they saw she was loved. She is loved. She was fought for, and this is the result. So I'm happy. I'm happy that in the end, this is justice.
And for Jalen, you thought you were smart. You tried to be slick.
Tried it.
The people saw you for what you are. You ain't. And I hope you never get out.
Bro, they need to let the father rock this nigga, bro. No cap, bro. Like, bro, that's the only thing that's wrong with our judgment system, bro. And when you alright, boy, they need to get punched on in front of everybody in that damn crowd, bro. Come on, bro. There should be no charges after that.
Zion Foster's body has never been recovered. Over 70 volunteers and law enforcement searched the landfill for nearly 6 months before finally admitting defeat. As of the publication of this video, Jalen remains at an intake facility in Wayne County, awaiting his placement in a general population prison.
Damn, that was a good ass video. I mean, I share my thoughts throughout the video, but again, rest in peace to Zion Foster. Condolences to the family. That nigga's a weirdo. Like, while that wasn't really his cousin for real, like blood wise, relation wise, you grew up with her as your cousin for the most part, I'm assuming. So you just trying to have relations with your cousin, brother. Your fantasies ran wild, and you committed a crime, and you want to act like you didn't do anything but dump the body. What are you dumping the body for if you didn't take her life? Then your girlfriend said you had a scratch on your neck. Those were probably defensive wounds because she tried to fight back. Unfortunately, they couldn't find the body, so that's sad because you really can't have a real funeral. But may she rest in peace. That's it for the story though. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you share your comments on the video in the comment section below, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe, y'all.
This pack got me feeling accomplished. See these games turn me into a monster. Hey, I'm in God mode, can't stop. I'm booked to live as a comfort. This pack got me feeling accomplished. See these games turn me into a monster. I'm in God mode, can't stop, can't stop. Hey, all that pain got me feeling jaded. Many to roll when to make it. Feel plugged into the mix, but lagging out before the update. Drop back in different times, same location.